forward with our first order of business. President Matthew Almendros has some remarks to wrap up the semester as we begin our last general body meeting of the semester. President Matthew, you have the floor.
Great. Where's that?
You can stay there.
Anyone hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm wearing a mask because I'm a little sick, but don't worry about it. But good evening, everyone. Can we believe that we are in our final legislative session of the semester? Before we wrap up our year, I would like to reflect on the work we've done together as an assembly and address pressing issues I'm sure is on top of all of our minds this evening. We first must recognize that we are just 3 years from the height of the pandemic, when many of us started our college careers in our rooms, and when many departments, institutions, organizations, and everyday lives face huge restructuring and resets. That includes our very own undergraduate student government. But since I joined USG, I could not be more proud of the perseverance we all showed during the troubling time. In the 2020-2021 academic year, our student government will be known for advocating for providing offline resources and support for students and enacting policies that help students pass the year. These resources include funding sanitizers and masks on campus, and we successfully enacted policies such as continuing credit, no credit, ensuing March 2020, and instituting a rollback on invasive mandatory camera use during exam. Then on our first year back on campus, this was 2021-2022, it was a mission of our student government to ensure that the university puts students, our safety first, foremost. Most notably during this time, we revised two restrictive speech codes to ensure that they align with your First Amendment protections. We provide freedom of choice and made sure that students had the option to take their classes online. And last year, we established groundbreaking investments in addressing student hunger, meals by program, to help food insecure students. We expanded student organization funding, got a commitment to open the library 24/7, before Monday to Thursday, and got students an extra day for fall break and expanded our non-rent hours. And this year, we as USG leaders have approved a plan to decrease student fees while ensuring that our departments, such as the Center for Student Involvement and commuter and off-campus life, have the budget they need to support our students. We also secured $20,000 for the Open Education Incentive Program to expand free textbook creation. And we are on track to do much more this year. Of course, these comments of our student government throughout the testament of time are only a few that we can recall. But when we reflect on what we have accomplished, there's one thing that remains constant. Our student government remains with us, the students. These achievements and wins we accomplished together could not have been possible without our perseverance and effort. It's not without learning and understanding. And as very young leaders, all of us in that room, very young, we cannot say that we have all the answers. But what we do have is a vision for how we want to shape the world. While I do not have the solutions to many issues facing our country and our world, and to us here on campus, our student government has crafted a statement that speaks to these issues from a student perspective and supports them in every way that we can. What I can say is I condemn violence against innocent civilians in all its forms and hope for a peaceful resolution to the conflict currently facing Palestinian and Israeli people. We have a strong commitment to the students we serve, with a diverse undergraduate population of 25,000 students who come from all walks of life and come to UIC to receive a high-quality education. Moving forward, our students need a governing body that is united. Our students need a student government that they know they can rely on to address the higher education issues that may prevent them from graduating. All of us must live up to our roles as representatives and as executive officers. We must face the issues that come before us with responsible governance, open honesty, and come together and work together above all. So, Speaker Joe, I'll pass to my friend.
Thank you, President Matthew. With that, we will move on to our first order of business, which is roll call. May we please commence roll call?
Yeah. President Almendra,
Present.
Vice President Fernandez, Chief of Staff Fox,
Present.
Speaker of the House Joe,
Present.
Treasurer Wallace,
Present.
Graphic Designer Castillo,
Present.
Web Administrator Suarez,
Present.
Director Alramani,
Present.
Director Assad,
Present.
Director Ramakrishnan,
Present.
Director Gupta, Representative Yusuf,
Present.
Representative Omar,
Present.
Representative Napa,
Present.
Representative Ahmed. Is Ahmed?
Yeah, present.
Representative Cruz,
Present.
Representative Nara,
Present.
Representative Huang, Representative Soman, Representative Knopf,
Present.
Representative Sharma, Representative Sand,
Present.
Representative Satterthwaite,
Present.
Representative Rowland,
Present.
Representative Mattawan,
Present.
Representative,
Present.
Representative Goldman, Representative Patel, Representative Pablo, Representative Santana,
Present.
Representative Lopez, Representative Toomey, Representative D'Souza, Representative Climate, Representative Shakir, Representative Rodriguez,
Present.
Representative Sacagawea,
Present.
Representative Fonseca, Representative Ali,
Present.
Representative Flores, Representative Shukla, Representative Rockland,
Present.
Representative is that you here? Representative Patel. There you go.
All right, thank you. We'll now move on to our next order of business, which is reading and approval of the minutes. Please take this time to read over the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, then the minutes will stand as approved. The next order of business is reading and approval of the agenda. Please take the time to read over the agenda. Are there any corrections to the agenda? Again, I will motion to add resolution 2023 F9 1009 USG Campus Safety Week to the agenda under old business as it was introduced last week. My mistake for leaving it out. Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? If not, then the motion is passed. I also motion to change the guest speaker section to say Sayan Sotelo STS instead of Karen Boyle STS. Karen was not able to be present today, so Sayan will be speaking on their behalf. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? If not, the motion is passed. Are there any other corrections to the agenda? And this room. If not, then the agenda will stand as approved. The next order of business is public comments. Abigail, is there any public comment?
No.
Okay. If not, then we'll move on to our next order of business, which is guest speakers. Guest speakers will each have 15 minutes to present their material and 5 minutes to take questions from the body. I will give you a signal when you have 2 minutes left and 1 minute left, and we will begin. Our first guest speaker of the evening is Janine Al-Havrithi, who is here on behalf of SGP. Thank you so much for taking the time out of the day to be here with us today, and we may begin whenever.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janine. I'm the Vice President of Student Justice and Talent Center here at USC. And I'm speaking to you guys on behalf of SJP today. So just to begin, I kind of want to give some historical and political context onto what I'm talking to you guys about today. I'm going to give you guys a little Pali 101. I can't go into like extreme detail. I only have 15 minutes, but if you go on our Instagram, there is a Pali 101 document in our link tree in our bio. So that's that. I just would also like to preface that there is if you want to be a governing person here at UIC, governing student in USG, and you want to overlook the largest Palestinian Arab and Muslim population in all the United States here at UIC, You should educate yourself on Palestinian history and politics. You have the power to give the voices a voice, and you are an overseer of one of the biggest population of the voiceless. So I think use your power for good. And just a reminder, the history that I'm about to present to you right now is intertwined with American history and university history. This is funded by our US tax dollars. It's funded by our college tuitions and has been morally justified by the same war criminals and systemic racism that encompasses our government and society here in the United States. So I'm gonna go on with the presentation. So just some background, pre-1948, this is before the formation of the state of Israel. The Palestine state was occupied by the Ottoman Empire, then it turned into a British mandate. And then Zionism emerged in 1896 by Theodore Herzl. It was basically the answer to the Jewish question within Europe. What is Zionism? Zionism is a settler colonial project with roots that extend beyond 1948, and since its inception has been built upon foundations of whiteness, anti-Arab sentiment, and anti-Semitism. And so the British promised Palestinian statehood while also supporting Palestine, but then the British are done with this problem, and they signed the Balfour Declaration in 1917, and then they basically support a national home for the Jews, which basically meant that there was a huge mass exodus to Palestine and the formation of the state of Israel in 1948. So this resulted in the Nakba, which means a catastrophe in Arabic. So the Nakba was whenever Israel was founded in 1948. Thousands of Palestinians were displaced, murdered, and tortured. This created the largest refugee crisis in the world. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember. Oh yeah, over 800,000 Palestinians were displaced in the Nakba. The early Israeli military, the Haganah, they displaced and destroyed 531 Palestinian villages. 70 plus massacres occurred. Deir Yassin was the biggest one. They sold Palestinian homes that were fully furnished. They kidnapped children. They raped women, and there was brutal killings. And in over 2 years, half of the Palestinian population was displaced. And these are just a few photos of the Nakba that kind of encompass what was going on in Palestine in 1948. So then we go into the Nexa, which means a setback. This is 1967 Palestine. Now Palestine has been under Israeli rule for over 20 years, and things kind of hit the fan, and occupation kind of became more apparent whenever Israel attacked Egypt. So the Israelis attacked Egypt. Now this was a war. This was a 6-day war fought by Egypt, Syria, and Jordan against Israel. Israel won, capturing the Syrian Golan Heights, East Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and the Sinai Peninsula. This displaced 300,000 more Palestinians, plus what was displaced already in 1948. So now we have transitioned into a full-fledged occupation, which is when Israel takes out its full occupational measures on Palestine, ensuing an apartheid. This has resulted in a series of institutional efforts from the Israeli government to oppress Palestinians and subjugate them to an inherently racist system and unequitable quality of life. So because Palestinians are subjugated to this, obviously resistance occurs, and the first Intifada happens, which basically is the first uprising. So in 1987 to 1993, this was years of popular struggle amongst the Palestinian people. This was years of major resistance and civil disobedience. 1,063 Palestinians were killed over 6 years, and this resulted in the signing of the Oslo Accords, which was a peace treaty signed in 1993 between the PLO and the Israeli government, oversaw by the American government, and it promised Palestinian statehood and peace in 5 years. That never ever happened. It also promised that the Israeli settlements would be removed from the West Bank. That also never ever happened. It just got worse. So that brings us to the second Intifada, which is the second uprising. This was 7 years after the Oslo Accords. Resistance against Israel after not withdrawing troops from the West Bank. And the IOF is the Israeli Occupational Forces, the Israeli military. They launched an offensive to take land Area C in Gaza. This was far more violent in the first Intifada. Guerrilla warfare was used, and over 3,000 Palestinians were killed. So what happened after the second Intifada was that Gaza had its elections, there was a removal of settlements in Gaza, and there was also a legitimization of the apartheid wall and the apartheid settlements in West Bank. These are illegal under international law. They're regularly condemned, but highly profitable to the Israeli government. And now you see a theft of water, farmland, and natural resources from the settlers in West Bank. And so just some stats for you, at least 600,000 settlers live in occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem. Until 2005, there was 9,000 Israeli settlers that were illegally residing in Gaza. The average water consumption of Israelis is at least 4 times as much as Palestinians' average water consumption in occupied West Bank and Gaza, and also 96% of Gaza's water is contaminated and poisoned. And they have also been under blockade and siege ever since 2007, which means that Israel controls what goes in and out of Gaza. So now this brings us to the current state of Palestine. There's ongoing occupation. Palestinians face continued racism, discrimination, and violence from the Israeli occupation forces and citizens. They suffer from discrimination in budgeting and Israeli land grabs, unable to develop villages and towns, and they endure Israeli attempts of gentrification and erasure of Palestinian identity in Palestine and also in diaspora. So the struggle for liberation continues. We have protests, Palestinians protests in Palestine. There's no academic freedom, there's no freedom of speech. People are killed and they're tortured and they're imprisoned, children get imprisoned. The fight for liberation continues, but it's very, very, very restricted. And so this is just more of like a future allyship kind of section of the presentation and what you guys can do also in the future of Palestine. And so why a two-state solution is impractical, because it erases the responsibility of 70 years of ethnic cleansing, especially without discussion of reparations. There's no justice for the refugees, there's no right of return for the refugees, which is also an international law right. And it is essential to give a voice to Palestinians to decide their own fate and to take back a land that was stolen from them in 1948 by the state of Israel. Allyship, ways to be an ally: attending and spreading awareness of educational SJP events, or posting interesting posts on your social media, and participating in the boycott, divest, sanction, discussing what you learned today with people who are unaware, attend protests, educate yourself with reliable sources like our Pali 101 in our bio. Also, SJP is the largest organization on USC campus. We have a huge following. I'm pretty sure everyone knows our name on campus. I'm kind of surprised that we were not consulted with when you guys wrote a statement about the Palestine and Israel situation right now. I think that direct conversation needs to happen with Palestinian organizations on campus, because at the end of the day, we're the ones experiencing these things. These are our families, these are our lives. So there definitely should be a direct form of communication with USG and the U of I system with SJP. These are just SJP's work. We do campaigns, Apartheid Week. We also organize around the city as well. And then just to go into what's happening right now, so about current events. I gave you guys all this small entire presentation because I want you to look at what happened on October 7th with the political and historical context in mind. Palestinians have been robbed of their freedoms and liberties for 75 years. Their houses have been demolished, stolen, and raided. They have been displaced like my grandparents. They have been murdered and tortured. An ideology of ethno-nationalism and ethnic cleansing has been the basis for systemic apartheid and genocide in Palestine. Western settlers are being sent and paid to steal Palestinian land and homes in the West Bank. Gaza has been under a vicious blockade for over 15 years, making it the world's largest open-air prison. Palestinians are tired and they want to live in dignity. And every time we try to negotiate our freedom, the world turns on us. You were never given a two-state solution. You were never given statehood. You were never given sovereignty. So what can we do? Now, Gaza is facing the heaviest bombardment ever, which has led to over 12,000 innocent civilians killed. Does this sound like a symmetrical relationship to you? Does this sound like a situation in which resistance is not justified? it is justified under United Nations international law. So I implore you to look and talk about October 7th with that context in mind. I don't know what statement you guys wrote up, and I should know about the statement that you guys wrote up, but I'm assuming it's taking a neutral stance. And I would just like to say that neutrality means that you're siding with the oppressor, and you're not taking in these historical and political contexts in mind. There are also false rumors going around that claim such as 40 beheaded babies, 260 civilians killed at a music festival, which, by the way, Israel just came out and said that they admitted to killing their own civilians at that music festival, and mass sexual assaults cannot be tracked down to any direct source. There's no footage to back up these claims, and it's only from hearsay. Journalist Sarah Snyder also admitted to these news articles being fake, and so be aware of any of these taglines that you cannot find any direct sources to. The villainization and criminalization of Palestinians and Arabs and Muslims is so real right now, so please be careful of what you read and what you see online. So what does this all mean? As Palestinian Americans, as Muslims, as Arabs, we have witnessed an escalation in post 9/11 anti-Arab and Muslim rhetoric. Students across the US are experiencing hate crimes, mutilated for wearing their flags and kufiyas. Children are getting stabbed for being Palestinian in Plainfield, Illinois. USG should ensure the safety and protection of their fellow students on campus, especially whenever you guys oversee the largest Palestinian population in the US. I have to reiterate that. And that was the end of this presentation. And then I just have some direct demands of USG that I didn't mention right now. So I would just like to ask a few questions for the USG body. What is USG's plan for bolstering Palestinian, Arab, and Muslim voices on campus? Are you guys addressing discrimination on campus? I know that there have been instances. I know that there have been Arab students and Palestinian students who have been arrested. Or is that being addressed by you guys? Is there going to be a statement put out? Is there going to be resolutions put out against this sorts of things? That definitely should be addressed. And I also had an ask about the statement that President Khalil put out and that the chancellor put out. If you guys are going to do a counter statement to that, I think you guys have. I would just like to reiterate that there should be direct communication with SJP, where we are the school's largest organization. We are the voices of Palestinians here on campus, and we honestly feel ignored by USG. Why have we not been talked to about these sorts of things? Our input and our opinion is dire, and it's needed in these sorts of statements, because Tim Colleen's statement did not speak for us. Marie Lynn's statement did not speak for us. If we have the opportunity to make one with you guys that speaks for us, we should be given the opportunity. We also have demands to divest from Israeli and Zionist institutions. Are you guys able to help out with that? Have you guys addressed that? I think it's really important. Our tuition dollars are going to the U of I system. They do help in funding Boeing and Raytheon. They do help in funding, Israeli propaganda. Can we work on something to have the U of I system divest? And that was really all that I had for you guys today. But I really hope you guys took what I said into consideration. And yes, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. I will now open the floor for questions. Are there any questions or comments for our guests? Yes, Matthew.
First, I want to thank you for coming to our body and educating us on this. Just to respond, we do have a plan that we have outlined in this statement. I'll just read it here very quickly. I think the big things that we've established here is, I know one of your demands, you are demanding status committee, and that's something we are going to commit towards. We believe that's the best way to get your guys' voices directly to university leadership, and I think that could also be a great place to advocate against or for divestments. That's something that we haven't had connections to work towards, but we're willing to commit towards that. I believe that's something to do with the UBI Foundation. We also we have been and will continue to be committed to ensuring that any peaceful demonstration being held at UIC is done so with respect to the ideals of freedom of expression. So we are absolutely committed to everyone's right of free speech and expression. And we do plan to organize in the next semester dedicated spaces for students to voice their concerns directly to the university administration. That's through the form of town hall. And we will work with you to get those organized. But we will be introducing a statement tonight that you'll be seeing, and while non-representatives cannot provide their input to the statement, we will hear from everyone here about how we can make this statement better.
Does your statement done Israel at all?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's why I think. Do you think should go through us? And we can talk about.
Are there any other questions?
I mean, I would like to speak.
Hello, Janine. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you, Janine, for your statement, and thank you for explaining the history and the situation in Palestine. The Public Affairs Committee will be releasing, first, we will be doing an interview with SJP and the discrimination that you all are facing on campus, and doing a feature on that. So that's something that we look forward to collaborate with SJP, and I'll contact you for the details and the interview timing, if that's something that you guys would be down to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Any other questions or comments? Robin?
So first of all, I'm so sorry to hear this present, and I'm really, really sorry to hear about that. We're just gonna try our best to help you guys. So basically, I haven't informed everybody yet, but I'm new director, I'm a new director of Campus Safety Commission. So like student safety is kind of new to me, and I'm sorry for all this, like, I'm really sorry. So like, hopefully that works with you guys in the near future, but I need to know more about like the student safety only on campus, because this we just serve for the USC student on campus. So like, if it's expected cases or substance, hopefully you guys can make it so that we can work.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? If not, thank you so much for joining us today. With that, we will move on to our next guest speaker, who is Cyan Sotelo, who's here on behalf of SCS. Thank you again for joining us, and you may begin whenever.
Good evening, representatives of the undergraduate student government. My name is Cyan Sotelo, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the Organization of Students for Democratic Society here at UIC. I bring forth to you our grievances in regard to the mission that UIC is so tirelessly upholding. In your words, you said, "We will promote the interests of the undergraduate student body and ensure there is effective communication between student organizations, faculty, staff, and administrators with proper acknowledgement of student voices in the level of decision. We should fulfill this mission through three main tenets: advocacy, service, and government. Advocacy, service, and government. But there hasn't been much of that lately, has there? There has been a lack of fulfillment in regards to the mission you tirelessly work towards, and I'm sure my comrades at SJP can attest to that as well as other organizations such as ours that promote the student voice, advocacy, service, and government, who face challenges to do just that for our very own institution that we are fighting to better. It is imperative that our student government recognizes its obligation to advocate for the safety and well-being of all students, especially when faced with discrimination and hostility, for speaking out on issues as critical as Palestine's struggle for justice. There has been students who are simply showing their support for the Free Palestine movement, being called anti-Semitic or names such as Nazis from their fellow peers. UIC employed officers attacking the very own students they're supposed to protect. You, as the undergrad student government, are supposed to be representing the student body and listening to their cries for support.
but instead the conversation of adding a new fridge and what kind of snacks to have at a tabling event is more important than ethnic cleansing. The most that many faculty and staff have done in trying to remain neutral is directing us to the counseling center. But if I'm remembering the counseling center correctly, there is a lack of funding and support in the center itself, as well as inaccessible hours and availability. So where are students truly supposed to go in their times of need? Because the space that has been accessible to 27% of 83% of the students trying to get counseling is not happening. One of our chapter campuses in Wayne State University have been able to support their students in boycott, divestment, and sanction BDS movement and calling for a reassessment of the university's investment practices, especially the university's financial ties with companies linked to Israel and the atrocities humans are undergoing in Gaza. This isn't something you just happen to stay uninformed about. There have been protests, political demonstrations, and blatant demands. Your silence is deafening to the ears of the students who are expecting to hear back from their student government with hopes of genuine and thoughtful response. By remaining silent and refusing to denounce the university's pro-Israel stance, they are complicit in perpetualizing an environment that marginalizes and endangers. This is about how the institution is oppressing their students and diminishing their voices instead of aligning the values that the students have here in this institution. The institution that proudly boasts about diversity and unity within students, but isn't reflecting that in their actions. These are the conversations that need to be had, given the position of power you all place yourself in. If the position you hold is going to support your name and your resume, then you might as well make sure your actions reflect the support of the voices of the people you're supposed to be representing. In truth, there hasn't been any sort of effective communication between students, student organizations, faculty, staff, and administrators. And you are the bridge supposed to be connecting them to us. And so you're letting the student body fall through the cracks. So I ask yourself to reflect the work you've done in your time as a USG representative. And if those things have truly changed the experience of students at USG, or have you let their voices die because of your lack to center their concerns over your own? In turn, we as Students for Democratic Society stand united in urging you all to break your silence and take a principled stand in support of Palestine students. The absence of a statement and the neutrality inducted by the university fail to fulfill their responsibility in protecting all students from hate, violence, opposition, for the simple act of expressing their disdain towards the university's continued support for Israel and the complete disregard for student voices. USG, if you do not dare struggle with us, then you do not dare to win with us. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now open the floor for questions. Are there any questions or comments for this guest speaker?
I just wanted to say thank you. Everyone here brought a lot of comments, and it's personal. As a student government, I mean, I don't want to speak for all of us, but I mean, everyone's staying quiet. So, we haven't been doing our, what this organization is meant to be here for. And as student government, we have a lot more power than we think, because we really are the connection between administration and students. And it was like just be investing, like we have the ability to go to administration and be, okay, let's talk about this. Why are we still doing this? We hear that students don't want this. And yes, like there's a lot of money that goes into it, but like we're giving them that money, unfortunately, and we can do something about it. So it's really super comment, and again, say thank you for everything, because it was really good for me. That needed to be here.
I guess I want to thank everyone for coming. I agree with both our guest speakers said. Thank you for calling us out. It was an eye opener, and I think it was really needed because I always say the ones and I'll say it again. I'm embarrassed to call myself a house representative because we are not doing our job, and that I'm passionate about representing you guys, and it's eye opener to both of these organizations coming to us to say you guys are lacking, and I want to thank you guys for calling us out because if no one's gonna do it like you guys should, if we were gonna do it, if we were gonna call ourselves out, you guys should, because we're here for you guys. Yeah, it doesn't seem like these resolutions are for you guys, they're for ourselves. So thank you.
Any other questions?
All right, and just to go along with what Sadie had mentioned, thank you both for being here. It was really great to hear what you both had to say. Something that I really took from your speech, you are the bridge connecting them to us in attempts to realize the administration and the student government. And I think being able to implement that split to know what we can do as students versus the administration. I think we could definitely hopefully work out something like that. I don't know exactly where you might be along those lines of how much power you think we can push forward versus the administration. So maybe if you could clarify that a little bit for me, please.
So basically what SPS is trying to push for is basically equity between students, right? Everybody comes from a different ethnic background and a bunch of different resources. But the resources that we have been fought on behalf of the students and the student organization, not because USG provided them, right? And you guys who have access to administration. You guys, they listen to you guys more than they listen to political student organization. Because that's not something that they want to listen to, right? But they'll listen to you, and you guys in turn have the power in your hands to speak out on our behalf, which is your job, right? So it's like recognizing the power that you have and being able to use it for that reason only, for the safety, our voice, and basically our understanding and our support.
Sorry, before we move on, are there any other questions that have to be addressed? Only from the body can speak now, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
All right, so for the representatives, if we could really take that into consideration, since I don't know, personally, looking at the administration as to where we are at, how they have a little bit more to say, maybe let's use our voices to vote, to really speak on about the issues here, work with our organizations. I have been trying to bring this up with the e-board as much as possible. We must speak for our organizations, our student body. So we as representatives have that right. We are here for them. So I hope you guys can take what they have said here today and use that. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Manasi.
Last week, we attended a meeting and we were met with such disrespect. We weren't even allowed, we had to give 2 minutes for even then, these are. I understand. But have you talked to? Have you put yourself like? Have you, made these meetings accessible? Have you made them, have you, put that there was a USG meeting out there to the students? Because there are many students who are unaware that but that it's happening, it's doing anything. So if you can't speak on behalf of the students that you're trying to represent without even talking to the students.
I want to clarify that the student government is absolutely here to listen to your concerns and feedback. Your voices matter to us deeply and we value your input. So it is since you're referring to last meeting, the public comment section. Protocol doesn't allow us to send immediate respond to those comments or discussion during the public comment period. But please know that your comments are being taken into consideration and that your information is taken down by Secretary Abigail. And we will be following up with you on this. That's why the public comment section is structured the way it is. That provides some context.
Am I able to comment?
Right now it's limited to the guest speakers and the reps. Any final question? Yeah, but
Oh. What can I, like, as a guest speaker, share my story? If it's my time, like, we're here in solidarity together.
sure, absolutely.
I just wanted to say, thank you for your efforts last semester. I do remember the diversity town hall, and I do appreciate that. I would just like to second what my comrades here at CS said. SGP had no idea about any sort of USG things or public comments or guest speakers until we were like, directly told by the USG members. And I feel like seconding what SCS has said, that channel of communication is severely lacking. And I would also just like to add, honest, like, I really feel like this is something intentional. If you guys can't even condemn Israel in your statement, why would you want our SGP voices to be heard? I mean, what's so conflicting, what's so complex about condemning Israel? There are like over 12,000 innocent civilians killed right now. Are you guys really that like preoccupied with the public affairs kind of PR campaign that you cannot even take that into consideration into your statement? It's just kind of perplexing to me. And I feel like, I'm deeply offended that like I was asked, we're not told about a statement. And I asked, does your statement condemn Israel? And you said no. Most of your students on UIC probably condemn Israel. How does that reflect the student body that you are representing? And I'm asking you directly.
Yeah, I can respond to that. So that's why we are discussing tonight. I'm open to what the body will shape the statement to. And hopefully we can continue working together on the actual items that we have on the statement. And I do have to note that again, we are students as all of you. We're also learning all the ropes of these. I do have to mention that we are reaching out to students and to student clubs and organizations for many of the issues that we address from safety, food security, and addressing college affordability. There's a week where I was trying to contact many student organizations, and 5 organizations never got back to me, or
Please refrain from interrupting each other.
no, they didn't.
Okay, and that answers my question, answers your question. The same as on Palestine and Israel. Why would SGP never taken into consideration on that thing? We are students of justice in Palestine.
And as I mentioned, this when I was meeting with student orgs, it was in relation to the student groups. I understand that with the time past, I've been meeting with every student organization before I placed my vote for that. But again, moving forward, we'll be committed to.
And I don't mean to be rude or condescending. I'm just really voicing what a lot of my peers here feel. Because I do know that there has been a lot of mixed feelings towards the statement and towards USG right now. And I am just telling you, as a Palestinian, as a student leader, as a student organizer here on campus, this is really, really concerning and really, really disappointing. And I'm just asking you this right here, right now. After my presentation today and my words today, are you guys willing to at least postpone your statement releasing tonight and talk to SJP and release one later on after you have been consulted with the statement wording and what you guys call for in the statement?
Absolutely. We will, work with you and, discuss our, statement with you.
Okay.
I do want to note that, again, we don't have the answers to everything. Student government, as I always said, can never be perfect. Consultation never is. And yeah, we've talked in time.
Yeah.
Throughout the, past few years. And as president of the student body, I know that there's a lot of things that, we have blacked on. But, for the representatives of the body, here, I don't want anyone to be demoralized from this, but to feel strengthened and, empowered to, address this, issue. And again, we'll further, discuss this. And for one thing, I do have, just a note, about our relationship with admin. It's, sometimes they can, ignore this, but that's something we can.
I understand. You guys are a good sub though for that. So thank you for taking my words into it.
All right, with that, I will conclude the discussion section with this guest speaker. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our final speakers for the evening are Avanshi Patel and Kushima Maradapira, who will be presenting on SmartMod. Thank you for joining us today.
Good evening. My name is Kushi and I'm the co-president of Parkathon, and this is my executive board member, Avanshi. We're going to be talking about Parkathon, our cancer marathon, and the fundraiser for July Health Monster and survivors of health. Board, as especially one of the co-presidents, my name is Avanshi. I'm one of the outreach chairs, and this is the rest of our board, so feel free to reach out to them if you have any questions about our presentation today. So what is Parkathon? Is a fundraiser for UI Health long-term survivors in the childhood cancer clinic, and we're a department initiative under SPLE, which is Student Leadership and Student Engagement. Every year, Parkathon hosts a dance marathon, so it's the largest fundraiser event for us. And this year is March 28th from 12 to 6 at SC 301. So we're looking to fundraise or ask you guys to fundraise for us for our needs. So we're asking you to form a team and fundraise as much money as possible to help get to our goal for raising the survivorship clinic. So the overarching goal of the Parkathon is to form fundraising teams for the marathon. It's more of a competitive based thing, whereas with team forms raises a more slight amount of money, gets a prize at the end, and it's really just a good cause at the end of the day. We're recruiting different clubs and organizations to form fundraising teams, which is why we're asking you to also form a team. It's $15 to $20 per person, and that's like a suggested donation. You can always make more, make like less, depending on how well the team is structured and whatnot. But we're hoping to raise at least $20 per person for USG. USG is a bigger organization and they have better outreach. And just to add on to that, if USG, let's say, formed a group of 4, it would be 15 times 4, so about like $60 in total. And then just some upcoming events. We have an ornament making event. It's going to be November 27th from 4 to 5 p.m. in the Innovation Lounge at the Computer Center. and it's a $3 entry fee for one ornament. It's really fun event. It's in the Christmas spirit, so I definitely recommend coming and seeing some more events. And then, some ways that you can like reach out to us, but also like stay updated about different events that we're holding is this Instagram page and the newsletter that we can send out every month. Also, our co-presidents, Sushi and Abby, their email notes up there as well, so you guys can email them with any questions that you have. And we have a website under Alpha LLC, which also has all of our information as well as like the form to like form group. That's all we have.
Thank you. I will now open the floor for questions. Are there any questions for this?
Just curious, you guys are saying you would like us to fund you all, do you know exactly how much it is, or what are you guys wanting us to fund you all?
So I'll answer that. USG cannot fund fundraisers. So I think what's worked on is if it's interested in the body, they can form their own independent like friend group team or even like a committee can just do it, but it cannot be USG fund. It would just be like supporting an organization, or also since USG members are members of several other clubs, they wanted to spread the news about Sparkathon in case your organization is interested in a service opportunity. This is a great way to do it, but USG funds cannot be used towards fundraiser. And Sparkathon knows that, so they're just trying to spread the news stuff.
Thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions? If not, thank you so much for joining us today. With that, we will now move on to our next order of business, which is old business. First, we have resolution 2023 F9/1008, which we will vote on tonight. Can we please have a chief sponsor read this resolution for us?
Amendment to.
Yes. Or we would have to return to.
I would like to table resolution 2023 F9.
All right, there's been a motion to table resolution 2023 F9/1008. Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Anyone abstain? If not, then the motion is passed and this resolution has been tabled. We'll move on to our next resolution, which is resolution 2023 F9/1009, which has been added to the email chain. We please have a chief sponsor read this for us. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding this resolution as it will be voted on tonight? Yes.
So, yeah, again, this is a very exciting series of events, that we're planning for the semester. It's a great opportunity for us to, do three things. One, promote resources, USC safety resources to the student body. Two, promote feedback, from students regarding their safety and other matters. And three, to, organize a panel that, community leaders and, elected officials will be able to share a thing or two about what's happening, maybe citywide and statewide.
Yes, Karina.
Just curious, since it is town hall as well, will the student body be speak?
Yes, absolutely.
Before we begin, are there any other questions or comments?
Since it is a 3-day event, will there be any time limit between like, for the town hall, or is there a time frame or specific days? For each 3 days, for those students to be able to have.
It's listed in the resolution, so it'll be January 24th, January 25th, and then January 3rd. And then there's specific times in there, so I know for at least our town hall, we're gonna do like a moderated question session, and then an open Q&A session. I'm pretty sure with the other town halls to follow as well. And then the safety fair will be structured a little differently, but there will be a moderated section as well.
Yes, Matthew.
Actually, amendment to make, I'd like to, in the third, let it be resolved to change Thursday, January 24th to be Thursday, January 25th. The 24th is a Wednesday, not.
Okay, there's been a motion to change Thursday, January 24th, Thursday, January 25th, and the third let it be resolved clause. Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? If not, then the motion is passed. Are there any other questions or comments regarding this resolution? If not, we'll move forward with voting. All those in favor of adopting resolution 2023 F9 1009, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? If not, then resolution 2023 F9 1009 has passed. We will now move forward with our next order of business, which is new business. First, we have resolution 2023 F10 2001. May we please have the chief's sponsor read this for us.
So whereas, as a result of the current humanitarian crisis, the conflict in Palestine and Israel, hate and violence are being committed against our communities, which leads many U.S. students to feel unsafe, and whereas students are affected by these tragedies, are in need of support due to threats to their communities, families, and whereas it is the duty of the undergraduate government to provide support to students, ensure that their safety, mental well-being, and academic success are prioritized. And let it be resolved that undergraduate student government firms is committed to supporting and ensuring students' academic and professional success and well-being and support for students experiencing this hardship. Let it be further resolved that the attached statement shall be released in your. Before we start questions and discussion, I will say that we will table this and reassess matters, but I would like to give everyone an open space to maybe debrief on our guests.
Yes, you said.
I agree that we table it, but I think that like what we thought today, I think it was a really empowering and like message from our community that we really need to like be more representative of our community. I understand that like when we first drafted this statement, we were like concerned that we might be like, I felt a feeling when I was like drafting, I had a feeling of like we were concerned about our reputation, like other in other student bodies like the population. And I think that it's really important that we as a body represent our students, that as the guest speaker said, that we have one of the most, we have the biggest outstanding population, one of the biggest countries. And I think that we should really think about that and maybe take a more principled response.
Any other, yes, Anthony?
Um, we do have a presence here, and we should actually acknowledge that for once, but, you know, SJP came to us for a reason, and like, if they didn't think we have a presence, and if they didn't think we can actually commit change, they wouldn't be coming to us like they said. Like, even if we had some, if the own administration doesn't believe in political organization, that we should take advantage of. No, and maybe so this is the one, that we're the bridge between students and administrators. So like, we should actually take that that model of us to actual, like, put it into the practice, because as right now, it doesn't seem like we're the bridge between administration and students, because we're not even a bridge between our own student body. So,
Yes, Pam?
I agree. I definitely think we have a big enough of a voice to really, speak up about what students on campus are going through. And to be honest, that was really embarrassing. And what's more embarrassing is that I am myself a Palestinian woman. I'm friends with half of the people that were here, and them, or me specifically, just being in an organization that has not spoken up about this, it's embarrassing. And to be honest, it's hurtful, because a lot of them have looked up to me and been like, okay, well, what are you guys going to do about this? And it's really hard when I have to respond with, well, to be honest, like, my job is limited, like, to what I can post on social media. And I definitely think we can use our social media to an advantage, because we do have a lot of people that do follow us and keep up with what we post. So I definitely think during our meeting today, we talked a lot about how we can bring awareness to what really is. We don't even have to discuss the issue itself. We can just, as little as talking about, okay, what are our students going through on campus? What are they doing on campus? What have they done to, what have they done on campus to help this issue out? And I definitely think we can use our social media stance a little more.
Just like a thing, kind of bouncing off what Zena said, if we can't like full on condemn like Israel in our statement, the least we can do is like repost like SJP's like events, like like post stuff that like supports is not Israel, Palestine, like resources and way that we can do better. It is really embarrassing to sit here and be silent for over 40 something days and have other organizations come in supporting Palestine and us being silent. I just think we as representatives could do better and be better and use our voice and be that bridge for other students. Personally, I'm in FISEG and we've done more and spoke up more for Palestine than our own undergraduate student government. So I think that's just sitting here, it's really humbling knowing that we can do more and we haven't done anything at all.
I just wanted to be, thank you for, speaking up about that. I think I have spoken with Matthew, I don't know if anyone else has received in the group chat, about the draft, meeting that was last week. But I had asked Matthew if any of our representatives have came forward with, any, because I am not Palestinian, I am Cuban, I'm Mexican, so I can't really speak that much as to what's happening, because it's not my place. However, we as the student body, for our student body, we're supposed to be representatives. I know last GBM we had, I believe Eric said we are not advocates. We are advocates.
I never said that. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. I never said that you are not.
We're not
So let me be clear. Let me be clear. We'll walk that way. If you making statements. I said this is not an activist organization. So on record, I need you to retrain.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm clarifying that. but we are still advocating for our students.
Absolutely. And I.
So that is very important. Okay, there are very, very hard. And I'm just letting you know, for our student body, we should be able to also advocate for our students, that's what we are here for.
Absolutely. But you might say that I did.
Forgive me if I got it wrong, it was a summary of exactly what I heard. But with that, I had asked Nancy which representatives to support, which obviously Representative Yusuf and Representative Saba were there creating the draft with you all. So being able to hear, I did not know that you were had to tell us to say anything. So seeing that, we need to bring in more of those voices. SJP had mentioned that they wanted to create this, and I had brought this up in our meeting last week to have them bring it in as well and have their input. Because it's very important, and they are demanding that as well, so maybe we should be thinking about that. And I'm glad that you were able to address that tonight, Matthew, but we really have to think of what we can do for our students in that manner. And you're my time.
Tanisha?
Yeah, I just wanted to know why we didn't ask them before making the statement, so they are the ones going through it, so I think we should have asked them before doing it.
Yes, Wendy?
So I need clarify that our statement, what we're trying to draft is to address the students here on campus. And when we draft our statement, it's coming from us as the student government, and we need to talk to all of our students, not just one group. And I think we should talk to other communities as well before we make a decision that will speak on behalf of all 25,000.
Yes, Marissa?
I would like to speak.
I just want to echo what other representatives have been saying, that before SJP came and spoke to us, I think, a lot of it could be attributed to like ignorance or just not knowing what to do for the past 44 days. But now that we have had SJP come in to student government and speak to us, just be so much more embarrassing. And I think beyond embarrassing, it shows the lack of accountability that USG is willing to take. Obviously we're a diverse body. I've heard of so many representatives considering resigning because they just feel so frustrated with USG right now, and our inability to express clearly, and any statement. It's so frustrating. And I want to thank you guys though for making the statement, a document that we're all able to edit. I think that was a big step. But now we have to collaborate with SJP to create a statement that is, I mean, we might not agree on everything, but just a statement that they in a way approve, considering that they are the biggest body on campus, and other students in USG and hopefully UIC as well approve of. So I just hope we take into consideration what SJP is saying.
Yeah, and then Marcy?
When we spoke with today, we all heard how Palestinian activities for consolation. But I think it's also important to realize that any statement that we as USC give for the whole student body. And I also think it's important that we're not letting one particular organization or any background of any belief system guide us in our statement that reflects everybody. And that's not just in this situation, that's in any situation at.
Marcy?
I said, this presentation is about students, but we have to understand that what is done is done. And that is like years ago. And I understand that it's gonna be really a problem. Right now, it's really time sensitive. But like USG, again, is the USG students on campus. And we are, and USG again is an education institution, not a real institution just for government. And we are just the voice of everyone. So like, what I'm trying to say is not trying to tell you guys that we're not political here. But like, we're here to study for our future and understand that student safety is a real deal on campus. Understand that I'm gonna work on that for the near future, but I have to know what happened. I'm sorry for my ignorance on campus, but I'm just trying to get what's going on campus. That's they say that like they are being racist, and what happened on campus, to be honest. Like they say that yeah.
I would like to let her go first because she was raising her hand.
That's okay, I just want to respond honestly, comment, one of my, friends who's also part of the program is making president of Hillel, and you guys don't know that it's the Jewish group that's on campus. I'm not saying this to like two sides, obviously, SGP came here and spoke their piece, and they were able to use this forum. Just wanted everyone to Hillel has been trying to foster community within the Jewish community, and many of them have also been experiencing hate and anti-Semitism, and they are trying to do a forum and other things internally, just because they feel like on campus they don't feel safe. And I know this through my friends, but I know that I'm not been public about it just because of the current situation. SCP obviously has a lot of people, but again, not to the two sides, but rather to kind of speak on behalf of them because they're not really able to do it for themselves. But I know there have been many conversations on in the terms of discrimination and anti-Semitism, and a lot of other things that they may be going through on the other side of this. But at the end of the day, I think the statement that was written collectively by everyone who had the document really speaks to the discrimination, creating that forum, and definitely addressing administratively with all of these concerns from both Palestinian students and their supporters and the Jewish students and their supporters as well, in terms of fostering a better community and having a better open dialogue about what all of these students say.
All right, I would like to start off by mentioning that I deeply feel the sentiments shared by the people who were representing SJP today. As the undergraduate student government, I would like to make a few points here that as a government, we totally have to respect each and everyone's opinions, thoughts, statements, and definitely should take them in consideration. But on the other hand, I feel like we can't dedicate towards one specific group or organization our thoughts and our sentiments and our opinions. The major concern here serving as the undergraduate student government is the safety of students, the development of students, the growth of students, and the holistic development they're coming here for. UIC being one of the most diverse campuses here in Illinois, I feel like what SGP shared today should definitely be considered, but I feel like we should also consider the other side of the story as well. And lastly, I would just like to conclude that as the government, our key goal should be to have safety the biggest concern right now for this specific scenario, rather than leaning towards one specific group or organization.
And I feel like, just in my opinion, if I feel like if we release a statement in which we would be leaning towards one particular organization or one particular group, the other will definitely feel offended. So I feel like when we are discussing as the whole house youth, as the whole government, we definitely take in account though that aspect as well, so that we do not face any further consequences. Thank you.
Jordan, and then, Jacob?
So, again, thank you everyone for providing their feedback on this. Again, as a statement that was written up in the past week. We do call for many things to ceasefire and end the violence, and we do condemn anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. So that's one thing that the statement in its current iteration holds, but I do believe that we need to do more discussions, more than what we can do in this 2 hours or less. And we need to continue our conversations with SIP and other communities. So with that, I will table this resolution for future.
There's a motion to table resolution 2023 F9 or F10 2001. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Say nay. Does anyone abstain? Not then resolution 2023 F10 2001 has been tabled. With that, we will move on to our next order of business, which is items of for discussion, of which there are none. So we move on to our next order of business, which is reports. May we be advised.
All I want to say, I just think you all have been very thoughtful, responsive, and conversation. I also really appreciate the great business providers for those who do, and I look forward to more conversations about how you all advocate to support individuals, specifically more time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the report of the advisor? If not, then the report shall be filed. Next, we have the report of the student trustee. Is there a report that's interesting? Okay, with that, we'll move on to our next order of business, which is officer reports. Can we please have the report of the president?
So yeah, it's the last GBM. I know that there's a lot been said, and yeah, I don't want anyone to leave this meeting and leave our final legislative session and for sour note, because this is just what student government is, and we are still learning about how we can address these situations and go about it in the best way that we can. I've been paying attention to this closely and also talking to student governments across the nation to see what they're doing and things like that. But here at the body, we can make responsible decisions on our own that reflect what we do, which is representing student body and making sure that students have the resources and space that they need to accomplish what the reason why they're here, which is to get an education and graduate. Let's not keep that mission forgotten. But last week we did a lot of things. First and foremost, we collected, I believe, around 98 meals. This was done without much prior promotion. I would say a huge success, as I mentioned. Food insecurity, it's been something we've been working on tremendously over the past year, so it's great to see that we were starting to look at it coming to fruition. And we had the first student tuition advisory committee last Friday. We learned a little bit about what we will be assessing in this committee, and mainly just introduction last Friday, but we'll probably get more in depth into some units that will be talking about tuition and such. Well, as the semester wraps up, I will be setting up meetings with administrators to recap everything we've done here in Singapore, follow up on our various USG initiatives. But this is the last USG event really that we'll be having. I know there's a lot more this upcoming weeks, such as tomorrow, Thanksgiving dinner, and next Monday.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding the report of the president? If not, then the report shall be filed. Next, we have the report of the vice president.
Hello, everyone. I'll be reading Vice President Michael's report today as he was sick and not able to make it to the GBM. So first and foremost, Mike emailed Dr. Fred McCall to inquire about adding standardized religious exemption forms for Dean students. This will allow students to have more pay as their exemption requests are being treated fairly, as it will be jointly by the Dean of Students rather than solely by the subjectivity of the professor. Continuation of the work Representative Saba and him were engaged in last year. He's additionally continuing off USG advocacy efforts from last year. Director Asa and him are in communication with Charles Farrell about extending the hours for dining halls during Ramadan and Sukkot. And he will keep following up to ensure that students can get proper nutrition that they need during the time. Additionally, he's in communication with the Title IX office about how we can work toward shortening the process of cases. There's a meeting to follow soon. He's also meeting with Dr. Raphael and the Campus Care and Depth Assessment Committee on Tuesday. He wants everybody to reach out to him if you are interested in serving in the Chancellor's Athletic Advisory Council. And lastly, he hopes everyone is able to get some rest and wishes you all happy holidays. Now, before I conclude Vice President Michael's report, I would like to formally introduce you all to the Safety Commissioner and the Mental Health Commissioner we have here today. Veronica and Teresa, I'm going to give you guys just a second to introduce yourself. Veronica, please first up.
Hey, nice to meet you guys. Nice to be back in USG. So, I'm currently the Deputy Director of Commission that semester, and I'm really the Director of the Competency Commission this year. And you can see that we're gonna have a lot of things on the table for next year. So, like, hopefully, if there is anyone who is like interested in like protecting or student security, you guys can come to me, and a little bit about myself, again, I'm Veronica, of course, that's not my roommate, but you guys can come with that, so it's easier to connect. And, so I am working major and concentration is in data science and science thinking. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking, and hopefully I'm gonna have a good time.
Hi, everybody, to follow up, I'm Teresa, I'm gonna be the mental health director this semester. I'm sophomore majoring in psychology and finance. And I'm pre-law. I'm also the president of Active Minds, which is a different mental health organization on campus, so I'm excited to be working with USG to use it as kind of a platform to come up with more mental health resources and do accessibility to our mental health systems. A lot of people are excited to do that, and I'm
And with that, I'd just like to say, please direct any questions to Vice President Michael.
With that, the report of the vice president shall be filed. Next, we have the report of the treasurer.
Hello, everyone. So I would like to congratulate all of us for all the good work we've done this semester, and I'm looking forward to all the great things that have accomplished that semester. So last week, I held my treasury committee meeting where we picked up the organized items for the USD Fox Social Career event. We also discussed possible ways to get the next semester and discussed the fund that. We talked about the experiences that others. I also discussed with the director of the department on the process and details of attending an outside conference. And then also discussed the health plans that are doing the proposal, which is happening next Monday, and hope to see you on. And also over break, feel free to reach out to me at my email with any questions or concerns. And it is with them.
Are there any questions regarding the report of the treasurer? If not, then the report shall be filed. Next, we have the report of the speaker. All right, happy last UBM, everyone. Yay, we made it to the end. Thank you all for your dedication and passion this past semester. It's been great seeing all the work that we've done. And have a great holiday break, both Thanksgiving and winter. And I'm looking forward to the great strides that we'll take together next year. Representative one-on-ones have been have concluded. I was out of town last week, Thursday and Friday, so we scheduled the time with you then. We were not able to meet. I will reach out to those who I have not met with individually, just to make sure we're wrapping up loose ends as we finish the semester. Speaking of finishing the semester, I will be sending out an end of semester reflection to assess our accomplishments and also learn from our challenges, so that we may set a course together for the future. So, thinking about what we can do better as an organization, both in our internal operations and the initiatives that we're working on. I will send out the form with some other communication with social, but please take some time to fill it out because your feedback is very important. Last but not least, we have the fall semester social next Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. during our usual GBM time. As Victoria mentioned, it will be on or at Pompey on Taylor, which is walking distance. We can also coordinate transportation. I will send out more communication regarding that after tonight's meeting. I've been working with Representative Sajal and Interim Speaker Manasky to plan the activities. There will be no formal dress code, but because it is a celebratory event, do dress your best. It's a special occasion, so we'll be taking a lot of pictures. So yeah, wear something you feel nice. We'll also be doing a white elephant gift exchange. If you are interested in participating, the gift price range is around $10 to $15. And we'll also be creating a USG Spotify playlist, in which we can add songs and have it playing during the social. And there will be other activities that members can participate in if they so wish. With that, I otherwise have the questions. Are there any questions? If not, then the report shall be filed. Next, we have the report of the chief of staff.
I'd like to start off by saying happy 10th and final week to everyone. We have done a lot this semester. This semester really has flown by in part due to all the things we have done, but I'm very confident that we're going to do a lot of things next semester and actively serve the 25,000 or so students that we represent. So with that, I'm gonna start the work. This last week, I held a check-in with Director of Legislative Affairs Department. We discussed the USG civic engagement efforts, the Student Bill of Rights Initiative, and plans for next semester. Additionally, I held check-in with Director of Campus Life Digital. We reflected on the Connecting Student Leaders event and USG's involvement with USC tailgate. Additionally, we discussed the USG Week of Giving, which is currently still taking place, USG Safety Week, and plans for next semester. Additionally, I met with USG's new co-advisor, Carlos Monta over here. Sorry about that, but Carlos, is very great to get to know you, and I'm looking forward to all the great work we're going to be doing with you. And next week, I have a check-in, well, actually, this week, checking with Director of Public Affairs, Zaina. But check-in with Director of Diversity and Inclusion, Alot. And today, I met with leadership of the Association of Latino Professionals for America. And I met with the president and vice president to discuss a lot of the two organizations concerns, things that were voiced last week, and definitely got a lot of material things out of that meeting that we will be. But overall, I'm very happy about this semester, and I want to extend myself. If any of you have any thoughts, comments, questions, anything that you'd like to bring up with me, I would love to be able to. So please reach out to me. But on that note, I hope you have a great break.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the report, the Chief of Staff? If not, then the report shall be filed. Next, we have the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Chair. Thank you. Are there any questions regarding the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Chair?
Yes, great. Quick question. Since we met with the BSC and BSC, did you happen to? They bring that up at all? Yeah, I didn't.
Any other questions? If not, then the report of the diversity and inclusion chair shall be filed. Next, we have the report of the legislative affairs chair.
Hi everyone, sorry, I think really with everyone, I'm gonna bounce off. But I finished up all my activities with everyone on the committee. And this week, or last week, I also met with Representative Santana, Representative Cruz, Representative Farah, and Representative Monta on the HSI initiative. So our current plan right now is we want to push out a survey, working in partnership with the Latino Cultural Center, all the other Latino and Hispanic social organizations on campus, push out a survey to understand varied experience from academic, cultural, diversity, all the different perspectives, to gather data and experiences. This could be in the form of comments, whether it be sharing a story, as well as quantitative data such as ranking. And then with this, we were currently looking at 3 different conferences to attend. So just kind of break those down really quick. One is called the HACA conference. This is an Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities in America. And with that, the conference is held on Capitol Hill. It's in April. The issue that I foresee with this is the incredible cost, $220 per person you spend. This does not include flights, food, or hotels. So just something to keep in mind as we continue going through this with representatives. Another conference is the HSI Symposium. From my report a week ago, I met with the leaders of this. This is actually led by students who go to HSIs. And with this, it's really informal. We kind of have to set up our own meeting at USG with our representatives and senators. But again, still a great opportunity. This would again have to be self-funded, but there wouldn't be that extra $220 registration cost. Then lastly, there is a conference called ILACHE, that's the Illinois Latino Council on Higher Education. It's actually at NIU. It's $20 per undergraduate student. We could really try to get a bus and try to take everyone there. It's a one-day conference, and we could definitely look at advocating on the state level for better funding and what the state level can do. Something I do want to note is that HSI is a federally funded program, it's a federal program. So we're really trying to understand our scope at the state level. But right now, our current plan is to push out a survey. We're going to work with all these wonderful representatives here to kind of figure out what's going to get on the survey, go from there, use that data to kind of plan out our next steps and use those experiences and the data that we gathered to figure out what exactly we're going to be lobbying for and the best way to do that. So if you want to help out in any way, you want to join this initiative, feel free to email me. My email is on every screen here, and it's also in the report. I also attended the Civic Engagement Month talk held by IPCE. IPCE is holding a lot of civic engagement talks from mental health to listening experience on campus. There's a little flyer that is posted in the USG office. I can also put that out in the curtain. There's one every month. There's free food. So if you would like free food, please do attend. It's during lunchtime, usually 12 to 1. Definitely recommend you all go. I also attended the Coffee, Cocoa, Cookies, and Career event held by FSE. So round of applause really quick for that one. A great event with lots of cookies that we do still have left over some. So if anyone wants any, you can go to the office and find the cookie box the office head into grab them. But there's still some cookies left if you want them. There's great event. There's lots of departments like FLCD, as well as the Business College Career Center and everyone there. And then almost last day, I met with Nick Hart and we are finishing up planning our spring semester civic engagement campaign with CSI as well as FSL. And then I also met with Chief Staff Boss, as you mentioned, to discuss all our initiatives and our planning semester. And I yield.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding the report of the Legislative Affairs Director? If not, then the report shall be filed. Next, we have the report of the Public Affairs Director.
Hi, everyone. Happy last GBM of the semester. This week and last week. So today we met with I had a PAC meeting with my committee, and we discussed everything that happened in the past GBM. We also discussed the December newsletter, upcoming tabling events, and we kind of want to go around interviewing UIC students on campus. So that'll either be this semester or next semester. I also uploaded all the GBM recordings from this semester on YouTube, so check those out. And I also attended our weekly e-board meeting last week.
Thank you. Questions about the report of the Public Affairs Director? The report shall be filed. Next, we have the report of the Student Success.
Hi, everyone. First, I want to say I'm super excited to work with Three Films on Out. I think it's been a very topical. I'm currently scheduling one-on-one with the committee, we're currently working on finalizing. I I know that Monday. But, you know, in the productive on that Wednesday, I'm looking for a like 4 hour off hours, from Wednesday to 1 to 5. I will be, here to work with agencies that have any ideas related to the I've also considered those with my friends to present that. I'll, again, for me, purposes, like the agency days, I'll open up the Zoom and information group as well. All ideas are welcome, and this whole thing is only done when I have something like this. I'm trying to some at the beginning of the spring semester as well. Last Tuesday, I met with the director of career services in Maryland to discuss something about in February, and begin intensive planning. We also discussed the college commission advisory board for the career development council. I got a lot of feedback of what they're looking for in terms of improving how we feel on the board, how the meeting, etc. And I'll be drafting this resolution on Wednesday for the college. I met with 4 Elias on 10 classes, which is like classes to explain what the undergrad student does and to promote our competition of the proven engagement of the director of the student engagement as well. They're looking at resources, interacting with the students and we have a lot of everybody. I attended the Senate Executive Committee meeting on Wednesday and as well as supporting the TV on Thursday, Senate servers. And then finally, getting into the best event of the week. We copied of the career event. It was a great time. This is a new event. And it was cheap. About 50 students attended to play career development, got snacks to drink, which is program. And we got the name of the family lieutenant as well. Their content has to support you guys want to I encourage you to meet with them, but I was doing some, I want to tell them about my own career plans, it's just that I want to make, so maybe you guys will as well. Huge shout out to Treasurer McCoy, keeping the job, because staff plan, Secretary Abby, Graphic Designer, and Dr. Farnham, Representative Michael, perfect, so I'll work you guys in with setting up the planning to please, to take on people. Obviously, if you're not thank you. And thank you for co-advisor and the director process for visiting. I had a fun practice really. And as the semester wraps up, I present introducing myself and meeting with various offices that are able to continue what they do and we will be supporting as DSC. I know finals are coming up. I don't think we won't see each other before that, but we're certainly all these practices that you're not comfortable with related to exams, final exams, registration to please take note and happy to work with you to find solutions or create something large. And finally, doing questions. No.
All right, are there any questions regarding the report of the student success director? If not, then the report shall be filed. Last but certainly not least, we have the report of the campus life director.
Hi, everyone. Great to have you here. I'll be diving into this quickly. So first, I should go for the participation program for the USG Meeting and we obtain your 100 presentation. Thanks for the announcement that you will have competition to the process to make ours. I was attending the town hall meeting and we discussed some time for the next to the town hall. As for the Matthew Oliver contest, we will be having brings of events and but don't worry, I will be giving reminders and talking about it early next semester. I have some meeting representatives and congratulations to run for being selected as the new city commissioner for the 20 years. At collaboration meeting with parents, it's full opportunities for the students to be. Last but not least, I'm going to discuss upcoming initiatives. This is initiative, students improvements to pursue a positive campus experience. Thank you all. Now I think
Are there any questions regarding the report of the campus center? If not, then the report shall be filed, and we will move on to the next order of business, which is announcements. Are there any announcements? Yes, Nancy. I know you're all available during this time, so I expect to see all of you. Sorry, go ahead. Yes, Veronica?
So just better Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, or whatever, between the time we cannot meet, and yeah, I can wait to work with you guys in the future.
Any other announcements? Yes.
I'm putting the cookies up on the counter. But we have somebody to.
So I would just like to kind of emphasize again on the UIC week of giving, which is right now taking place, the great initiative which is being taken right now by the campus life committee. I'm a student leader right now, and I would like to motivate, because I know like a lot of student leaders are here right now. I would like to motivate everyone to donate and like help out, and that we are USC, so we can do the best. So that's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Any other announcements? If not, we'll move on to our final order of business, which is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? If not, then the meeting is now 7:51 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
This is gonna like longer.